All right, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Long, and let's see. Ms. Middlebrooks, reset date is May 5th, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I appreciate it, thank you. All right, I see quite a few items on our chat feature. Okay, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's begin with our state expedited accusation calendar. Again, my name is Judge Law, and this is a calendar in which individuals were recently arrested on outstanding warrants and charged with certain misdemeanor offenses. Upon being booked at the Fulton County Jail, the prosecutor, that is the Solicitor General's Office of Fulton County, has already formally accused these cases. Hence, the matter is now before the State Court of Fulton County, and this would be the defendant's initial appearance before a judicial officer. If you are such a person accused of a misdemeanor offense or offenses, please keep your rights in mind. First of all, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case during the course of these proceedings, your statements can and will be used against you. These entire proceedings are being recorded and live streamed, so please exercise your right to remain silent and allow your attorney to speak on your behalf. You do have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to represent you. We have attorneys either from the Public Defender's or Conflict Defender's Office who are available to represent you. Some of our conflict counsel may possibly not be present today, but they will be available or appointed to represent you for future proceedings. Okay, courtroom 2, who do we have, please?
Judge, I have position number 20, Ms. Rowland, please.
All right, thank you. I have Shakita Rowland, accused of criminal trespass and damage to property and giving false information to an officer. This is 22 CR 002343E. And Ms. Rowland's offense date was April 14, 2022. I understand that she was addressed yesterday and a split bond was issued. Who's representing her?
She had a conflict.
All right, this is conflict, okay. And what was the reset date she was given, May 5th?
Your Honor, yesterday she was given a reset for this date, but yesterday's SAP reset, I believe, was the 3rd of May.
Ms. Middlebrooks, is it for the 3rd of May?
That would be correct. The 3rd of May was for yesterday.
All right, let me make the sound out. Do we have conflict counsel present this afternoon? I see Mr. Terrell Dark is present. Are you?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm present. My apologies.
Right. No problem. Are you available to represent Ms. Rowland, or have you spoken to her?
Yes, Your Honor, I've spoken with Ms. Rowland. I've spoken with all of the defendants that are appearing on the calendar as conflict counsel today.
All right, so you will enter an appearance for Ms. Shakita Rowland. Her bond has already been set by Judge Williams, and her next court date is going to be May 3rd.
Okay, Your Honor, I was not present for that. Could you just tell me what the bond was that was set, please, if possible?
Just give me a moment.
Sure.
The order was issued yesterday, and it appears to be a $2,500 good bond on the criminal trespass and damage to property, and a $1,000 signature bond through the jail on the giving false information. No further contact with the Antarius, I can't make out the last words, begins with a T, to stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, and weapons.
Okay, and Your Honor, would the court at all be able to modify that bond? I do know, based upon my interview with Ms. Rowland, that she would be unable to make that $2,500 good bond. My understanding is that she's of limited means and unemployed at this time. Additionally, she may have some homelessness going on based on my interview with her. but I know she probably would not be able to make that bond.
All right, I have already conferred with pretrial, and I don't believe they have her record available at the present time since she was addressed yesterday. Mr. Toussaint, do you have her record at the present time?
Don't.
All right, Mr. Dark, I'm going to defer to Judge Williams' order since she had the benefit of her record. And so
Okay.
we will see her on May 3rd.
And Your
Okay.
Honor, the state does have her record.
Oh,
She does have 7 cycles. She has an open criminal trespass case, state court, 21 CR 007-339E, where she also broke multiple windows of another victim's residence. And she has a couple of convictions, one out of Fulton County for criminal trespass in 2012, one for obstruction.
that's good. That's good. I'm satisfied. I'm going to defer to Judge Williams' order. So we will see her on May 3rd.
Okay, come on, we're done.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Your Honor.
Does have position number 13, Ms. Mays, please?
Mr. Dark, I don't know if you're the only conflict counsel, but I do know we had a few resets from yesterday due to conflict not being present. So we'll take them up as we go along, okay?
Your Honor, I wasn't assigned for yesterday. I'm sorry about that, but I was unaware and I wasn't assigned for yesterday.
No
So-
apologies. No apologies required. I'm just, you and I are on the same page about these resets.
Oh,
All right.
Okay, all right.
All right. Courtroom 2, may I have the position number again, please?
Judge, position number 13, Ms. Mays, please.
Thank you, thank you. We have Kenya Mays accused of criminal trespass from 22 CR 002-362C. And Mr. Mays was also reset from yesterday, and he's accused of criminal trespass from an April 19, 2022 incident. Mr. Mays, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. I'm sorry, Ms. Mays, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. And was she also awaiting conflict representation? Oh, no, there we go. Ms. Kim is representing you. Okay. And Ms. Kim, we may have some audio issues. If you could speak up, please.
And Your Honor, this was an MH reset.
Okay. Ms. Kim, first of all, Mr. Toussaint, do you have priors? I understand she's got 4 cycles.
Yeah, last arrest was 2015, battery DV conviction. There was no further violent contact with William McLaughlin out of the cab.
That's good.
Before that was 2003, so
2003, not,
Yeah.
okay.
that was before the 2015 battery, yes.
Okay, and the 2015 batteries from which jurisdiction?
The Cobb County State Court.
DeKalb as well. Oh, thank you. Ms. Tortorella and Ms. Kim, did you all want a breakout, or were we going to address this right now?
I would defer to Attorney Kim as she knows her client. I'm not sure what would be best.
Need a breakout. I just need to make sure that, can I log in with my iPhone so hearing can be better? Okay, there we go.
Actually, I can hear you better now.
Oh, okay.
Ms. Tortorella, can you hear her?
She's a little bit muffled, Your Honor, to me. I can't really hear her very clearly.
All right, Ms. Kim, go ahead and chime in with your other device for the audio.
Yes.
And Sergeant, we will hold off on Ms. Mays until we do a breakout.
Okay, Judge, Ms. Mays, I'm gonna come back to you, okay? I know I'm gonna get you back to medical, okay? Can we go to position number 10, Ms. Lewis, please?
Okay.
I'll come back to you, okay? Ms. Lewis should have a private attorney on the call, Judge.
All right. And that would be Mr. Bailey, is that correct?
That's correct. Good afternoon, Judge.
Good afternoon, sir. This is position number 10, and it's 22 CR 002-395G. This is Ms. Sharina Lewis, accused of battery, causing substantial physical harm, hindering a person from making an emergency phone call, hit and run, and following too closely. from an October 17, 2021 incident. Ms. Lewis, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Terry Bailey. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
4 total. Last was, hold on.
No, we have to come back to Ms. Mays.
State, the question, you got a South Carolina history?
I do not.
All right, Judge, I'm gonna defer to the state on this one. They gave me the wrong
I have
one.
a 2018.
I think that's the
conviction
wrong
for
one.
Driving while license suspended, is that correct?
No. Because that came from a South Carolina history and state doesn't have it. So theirs is probably more accurate than mine.
All right. Ms. Tortorella, would you like to make your bond recommendation based on your information?
Yes, Your Honor. For the battery, a $5,000 surety bond. For hindering 911, a $1,000 surety bond. For the hit and run, a $1,000 surety. For the following two close, a $500 surety, which would be a total of $7,500 surety bond. Conditions is that she stay away from or no contact with Tina Haskins. The first name Tina is traditionally spelled. Haskins is H as in Harry, A-S-K-I-N as in Nancy S. To take a driving defense course, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant does pose a risk to public safety. On October 17, 2021, around 9:08 p.m., Officer Meyerhoff of the Sandy Springs Police Department was dispatched to the intersection of Abernathy Road and Glenridge Drive in Sandy Springs in reference to a hit and run. The victim actually flagged down someone to call 911 for her, Miss Tina Haskins. Miss Haskins advised the officer she was at a red light at Abernathy Road, where she was hit from behind by a 2013 black Mercedes. I'm sorry, not 2013, by a black Mercedes sedan. Miss Haskins said she got out of the vehicle to try to speak to the driver, which she described as a thin-built black female with short hair, approximately 110 pounds. Miss Haskins advised the driver that the female that she was hit from behind by her, the driver did deny this. Miss Haskins advised the female that she was going to call 911, and that's when the female proceeded to snatch the phone from her and then walk to her Mercedes. Miss Haskins then attempted to get back her phone and instead was grabbed by the female, and I'm sorry, she attempted to grab her phone back from the female and instead grabbed the female's cell phone in the process. The female walked back towards Miss Haskins and began to push her around and then assaulted her with Miss Haskins' phone and with the defendant's fists, knocking the victim to the ground. While on the ground, Miss Haskins was able to get her phone. And then the black female got into her car and then drove off, almost hitting Miss Haskins. The officer did observe a deep laceration on Miss Haskins' forehead and bleeding from her nose. And then there was a photo lineup that was conducted on November 18, 2021. And the officer was able to also identify the defendant via her tag number that the victim was able to obtain at the scene. And all these events did occur in Fulton County, Georgia. Your Honor, this defendant has quite a driver's history. She pled guilty to speeding on August 3rd, 2020. The jurisdiction is unknown in the driver's history. However, it did add 4 points to her license. She did plead before Judge Taylor in state court on July 1st, 2019 for failure to observe traffic laws, which was reduced to basic rules. This case is 19 CIT 002372. She was also arrested on April 21st, 2016 for failure to maintain insurance, where she pled nolo out of the Doraville Municipal Court. She has various failure to appears, which appeared on her driver's history. One on June 20th, 2021, and another out of October 5th, 2020, for failure to appear to trial in Troop State Court. The victim has stated that she was just trying to make sure that the defendant was okay after the defendant hit her car. However, the victim stated that the defendant just went crazy and took her phone away from her and began hitting her in the face with her phone. And she does have pain in her shoulder still to this day, Your Honor, and she's still seeing a doctor for her injuries.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Tortorella. Thank you. Mr. Bailey, what is your position on bond for your client?
Your Honor, just briefly, I want to just let the court know that my client has been a resident of the Metro Atlanta area since 2013. She's currently a teacher and has been teaching for the last 9 years. The last 3 years she's been teaching. She teaches at-home schooling, so she's not a flight risk to the community. And more importantly, after this incident in question, Ms. Lewis actually contacted Sandy Springs Police because obviously her version of the events is different than what was alleged by the victim. And she contacted Sandy Springs that next day. They told her that there was no active warrant for her. And since then, Sandy Springs reached out to her 2 other times, and she spoke with the police officers, and she was advised at some point that the victim had filed charges, but she was instructed to wait for a court date. So she was unaware that there was an active warrant for her. She's retained private counsel. As I mentioned, she teaches Monday through Friday from 10 to 3 every day. So she wants to get back to teaching the kids very quickly. And we're respectfully requesting that the court issues a signature bond, as she does not pose a threat to the community. She does not know Ms. Haskins, never did know her before that incident. The reason that she did not report the accident is because her version is that she did not even hit Ms. Haskins. So respectfully requesting a signature bond for those reasons, and just notifying the court of those facts as to why she's not a flight risk, and that she posed no threat to the community or danger to anyone else.
All right, thank you. On the battery substantial physical harm, the bond's going to be set at $2,500. That's the surety bond. The hit and run is going to be $1,500. The following too closely is going to be $500. And the hindering a person from making an emergency phone call, that's going to be a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. So that's a $1,500 signature bond through the jail for hindering a person from making an emergency phone call. That particular charge didn't have a warrant, hence it's a signature bond through the jail. With the remaining charges is 4,500, and that's a surety bond. Her total bond is going to be $6,000. It is a split bond. To have no further contact with Tina Haskins. She's to stay 200 yards away from Miss Haskins and not contact her in any way, form, or manner. Her driving privileges will be in accordance with whatever DDS has warranted. If they have suspended her driver's license or anything to that effect, that's entirely up to them. But she's going to be only allowed to drive in accordance with DDS. She is going to complete a defensive driving class while she is out on bond, once she makes bond, and I'm going to require her to do so as one of the conditions of her bond. All right, her next court date is going to be May 5th. If she makes bond, she will need to make sure that her address is current with us at all times so that we can send a notice of when to appear in court next. Thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you, Ms. Lewis.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Judge, can we go back to position number 13, please?
Yes, we may. Yes, we may. Thank you.
Come on, Ms. Mays, have a seat. Thank you.
As I was saying, this is Kenya A. Mays, 22 CR 002362C. Ms. Mays has been advised of her right to remain silent, and she's represented by Ms. Judy Kim. Ms. Tortorella, what's your bond recommendation for Ms. Mays, who's accused of criminal trespass?
Yes, Your Honor. For the criminal trespass is a $2,000 surety bond. The conditions is that she stay away from Emory Hospital at 550 Peachtree Street in Atlanta, Georgia. She do an MHET, no drugs or alcohol, and no weapons while she's out on bond. Your Honor, this defendant has 3 cycles, including arrests. Back in 2003, she had an arrest for obstruction and giving false information and disorderly conduct out of DeKalb County, where those were no prost. And then in 2003, she had an arrest for cruelty to children in first degree and simple battery out of DeKalb County, where she pled nolo to simple battery and cruelty to, and the cruelty to children charge was declined by the state. And just to add, Your Honor, she does pose a flight risk, a risk of reoffending. Just based on the facts of this case, Your Honor, which occurred on April 10th, 2022, she did knowingly and intentionally remain at Emory University Hospital after being told by I believe it was the law enforcement to leave said property, and she refused. So for this reason, Your Honor, we do feel a $2,000 surety bond is reasonable for this case. Nothing further.
All right. Ms. Kim, does your client have a specific address? I have a Decatur address, but I don't know if that's a current address.
Yes, 2265 Starline Drive.
Oh, there we go. I can hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Oh,
All
let
right.
me kind of control this.
You have to switch off the audio on one of the devices.
Sorry about that. Let me do it.
Okay. So with regards to Ms. Mace.
Is it better, Your Honor?
Yes, that's much better. Thank you. And that is a good address for her?
A good address is 2265 Starline Drive,
Okay.
Decatur, Georgia.
Thank you. Ms. Mays, your bond is going to be $3,500. That's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. You will report to pretrial once a month, and you will have to avoid getting arrested while you are out on this bond. Because if you get arrested again and you're back at the Fulton County Jail, your bond will be canceled and it will be converted to either a surety bond or a cash bond. So you are being given an opportunity for a signature bond today. But if you get arrested again, just remember that signature bond will be canceled. Do you understand?
No, I do not.
I'll explain to you. Just give me a call and I'll explain to you.
Very simply, if you give the police a good reason to arrest you again.
If I may, Your Honor,
Be quiet. If you give the police a good reason to be back in jail, the next time you would have to pay to be released from jail. You will report to pretrial once a month, and you will stay away from the Emory Hospital. Is that the one in Midtown?
Ma'am, I have not went to trial. What do you mean stay away from their stuff?
Be very quiet right now. Be very quiet. Ms. Tortorello, is that the Emory Hospital in Midtown?
Yes, Your Honor. I just would like to add, just based on what the defendant is stating right now, if I can recommend a mental.
Yes, I'm getting to it. I was just trying to figure out from where does she stay away.
Am I being sentenced right now when she's telling me to stay away from the Emory Hospital and all this stuff?
All right, she keeps talking. Her bond's going to convert to a surety bond, and she's going to have to pay to get out. So she needs to keep quiet. And I'm addressing this to Ms. Mace. Ms. Tortorello, again, is this the Emory Hospital in Midtown?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. All right. As I was saying, she has to stay away from the Emory Hospital in Midtown unless, listen very carefully, unless she has a specific appointment with a health provider at that location, or she is seeking emergency services at the emergency room section if they have one. If she is told to leave the premises, she must do so, otherwise she'll be arrested again for criminal trespass, and that will revoke her signature bond. We can unmute courtroom 2 now.
I never stepped foot on their property.
Miss Mace, I strongly recommend you to stay silent. The judge has ruled.
This is per judge. How much is this?
It's going to be a 3,500 signature bond through pretrial services. Stay away from Emory Hospital Midtown unless she has a specific appointment with a physician or a health provider, or she's seeking emergency services. If she's instructed to leave the hospital, she must do so, otherwise she'll be arrested again.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Judge, position number 2, please.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, regarding that ME.
Oh, MHET, yes. Since this is a criminal trespass matter, and an MHAT can only be warranted if the defense recommends an evaluation. But at the present time, I don't have enough to force an MHAT.
Can we have a social worker come out to see her?
Certainly, if she's got a signature bond through pretrial, if they see her before she's released, that would be fine. Otherwise, the public defender's office can make that recommendation. All right, next, I'm sorry, quorum 2, I know you told me the number. I apologize.
Miss, position number 2, Judge.
2, that's right. Okay. I'm getting old, Sarge, gotta keep reminding me. All right, we have Shara Lynette Buey, 22 CR 0023888, accused of criminal trespass, April 20th, 2022. Mr. Tucson, does she have any open trespass matters?
Which number is this?
Position 2, Shara Buey.
24 total. Last arrest was February 2021. Failure to appear for 3 counts of theft by taking. She has a 2019 trespass, 2019 FTA, 2018 shoplifting conviction.
Okay. Anything going on in February of 2022?
The failure to appear
Yeah.
in Brookhaven.
Okay.
Judge Long,
Miss-
that was me assisting 6 other respondents that were disabled.
No, Ms. Bowie,
No, hold
Ms.
on.
Bowie, please remain silent.
I shall not. I'm going to finish the statement.
Okay, good. Then you're going to finish the statement when I say it's your turn to speak. Now we can mute courtroom 2 right now. All right. Ms. Buey has a right to remain silent. Anything she says with regards to the facts of her case, her statements can and will be used against her. She has a right to an attorney, and her attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Ms. Mitchell, yes.
Yes.
What's your recommendation for Ms. Buey?
Your Honor, our recommendation, well, there's a current bond of $1,000 surety, and we're going to request that that remain the same with the stay away from the shopping center, including the Barnes and Noble in question on 2900 Peachtree Road, Atlanta, Georgia. A social worker visit and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. As Your Honor is aware, defendant criminally trespassed at the shopping center in front of the Barnes and Noble within the shopping center. And she had already received a formal trespass warning April 16th of this year. The property manager was able to show documents showing ongoing encounters with the defendant. Even when the officer tried to get her to do the PAD program, she refused. So, as far as the history goes, defendant is a risk of reoffending. She's a convicted felon with a history of criminal trespass. She has 5 criminal trespass convictions. The most recent was in 2019, where she got a $500 good bond and 5 criminal trespass arrests. She's also a high flight risk, being that she has 9 failure to appears and 1 probation violation. So based on that, we're recommending the bond remain the same.
Thank you, Ms. Mitchell. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. I am requesting a signature bond on Ms. Shara Bowie's behalf. She does not have the means to make bond at this time. Your Honor, we are unopposed to the stay away, and we are also unopposed to the behavioral health evaluation. Ms. Bowie is 46 years old. She has been in the Atlanta area since 1997. She has family here. She completed high school. She also served in the U.S. Armed Services, and for that service, she is disabled. She is currently employed at income.com. She denies the allegations. And again, Your Honor, I'm requesting a signature bond on Ms. Bowie's behalf. And if Your Honor determines that she's eligible, then the lowest bond possible.
All right. Ms. Buey, I'm going to unmute courtroom 2, and you have a very, very competent and smart attorney representing you. So if you decide to waive your right to remain silent and make a statement about the facts of your case, you may possibly incriminate yourself and also make it very difficult for your attorney to represent you. Just keep that in mind. Courtroom, maybe unmute courtroom 2, please. So Ms. Buey, would you like to waive your right to remain silent or exercise your right to remain silent as you should do?
And I do advise you to remain silent, Ms. Bowie.
In order to receive the signature bond, in order to receive the signature bond, I want to remain silent.
Given that you have 24 cycles, given the recitation of your criminal record history, your bond shall remain at $1,000 surety bond, and you are to stay 200 yards away from the Barnes & Noble store located at 2900 Peachtree Road. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. Your next court date will be May 5th.
Am I still eligible for the signature bond? Do that every
You are not.
I am not, even though I showed that I have proof that I was providing assist.
Ms. Bowie, please remain silent. The judge has ruled.
Yeah.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we cannot unmute courtroom 2. Please, we cannot mute courtroom 2. Ms. Buey, you do not qualify for a signature bond, and if there are any allegations that you should qualify, we can readdress that on May 5th.
All right, but if I pay the signature bond before then?
If you pay the surety bond before then we will send you a new court date at your current mailing address.
Okay, so the surety bond itself is listed as, they told me 1,000, then you just said 1,000 again. So it's complete 1,000. So basically I'm being allotted, basically fined for assisting 6 senior citizens.
Ms. Bowie, if you have any, I will give you a call, Ms. Bowie. You can.
And that concludes this case. That concludes this case. Thank you, Sergeant.
I do apologize, Your Honor.
That's all right, Ms. Gant. That's all right. I understand.
Judge, I have position number position number 3, Mr. Brown, next, please.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, he's also position number 4.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a co-defendant in this case or a cross-defendant?
Come on, Ms.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
I'm ready to go.
You ready to go home, huh?
Is Amir Raines a cross-defendant or co-defendant with Mr. Brown? Or do I have it mixed up with another case?
I believe that that is not the case, Your Honor.
Okay, thank
There's
you.
no co-defendant in this matter,
All right.
cross-defendant in this matter, co or cross-defendant.
We have Quintavis Lamont Brown. Mr. Brown has 2 open cases at the present time. The first one is case number 22 CR 002-389B, in which Mr. Brown is accused of battery, domestic violence from a January 29, 2022 incident. The second case, State versus Quintavis Brown, is 22 CR 002-390B, in which Mr. Brown is accused of simple battery domestic violence from a February 13, 2022 incident. Mr. Brown, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Your counsel is going to be Ms. Wanda Gant and Mr. Toussaint.
15 total.
15 cycles?
2010 burglary conviction, 2011 battery conviction. Last arrest was July 2021, possession of a firearm by convicted felon. Theft by receiving, that's open in DeKalb County.
I'm sorry, did you say 2021?
Yes, possession of firearm by convicted felon.
In DeKalb County.
And theft by receiving, yes. The 2011 battery was Walton County
All right,
conviction.
thank you. Ms. Mitchell?
Yes, Your Honor, in this case, so for position 3, the state is recommending a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Miss Natalie, spelled Natalie, Neal. A stay away from the address 794 Ornwood, spelled Ornewood, Avenue Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia. A 1-day anger awareness course and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. We're also recommending the same recommendation for position 4.
Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Quintavious Brown is 29 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has all of his family here. We are opposed to the stay away at 794 Armwood Drive Avenue Southeast. Mr. Brown informs me that he lives there. However, I was unable to make contact with Miss Natalie Nunn, the complaining witness, so we will defer to the court's ruling. Mr. Brown completed high school. He is employed at Wendy's. He advised me that he has been in that position for only a few months. He denies the allegations. He states that whenever Ms. Nunn gets upset with him, she makes these false allegations. He denies the allegations in both matters. I acknowledge my client's history. However, I would submit to the court that the battery conviction is remote. That was 12 years ago, Your Honor. In his open cases, he is presumed innocent, as he is in this matter as well. We are opposed to the stay away and the no contact orders and would ask the court to implement no violent contact and no stay away. However, given that I have been unable to reach out to Ms. Nunn, we would defer to the court's rulings. And as for bond for position number 3, battery family violence, I am requesting a signature bond. And if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then a low bond of no more than $1,000. And for matter 2, the simple battery family violence, I would ask for a signature bond, or in the alternative, if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then a bond of no more than $500. I reached out to his sister, Quenisha Brown. She states that she really does not have much more than that to contribute toward his bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, did you want me to present my argument?
No, actually, I was more concerned about the, I've already read the warrants. I was more concerned about for Miss, no, I was concerned, number 1, about the address, and number 2, about the name of the victim. So yes, the warrants identify Natalie Neal, but Ms. Gant is referring to as Natalie Nunn. So do we have a discrepancy about the name?
In the warrant I read, it's N-U-N-N.
I've got it as N-E-E-L. Is that a different?
Let me, because I have it as N-E-A-L. Let me double check.
N-E-A-L.
You know, it just depends who's typing it up at 3 o'clock in the morning. So this was done at 9:32 a.m. So they should have been wide awake by then.
And this.
Yes, I have Neal, N-E-A-L. I have Neal, N-E-E-L. But I'm perplexed by the Nunn. So I'm going to go with the name on the warrant.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And Ms. Mitchell, has victim advocates reached out to her in terms of her residency issue? Does she live at Elmwood, or where are we looking at?
Your Honor, the number that was provided stated it wasn't in service, so we didn't get a chance to speak with her. Had we had an opportunity to speak with her, though, the position 4 would have been sent up to the DA's office, being that she dislocated her shoulder as a result of the assault.
All right. Okay. And Ms. Gant, you're saying that as far as you know, that the Miss Nunn does not live there or has vacated the premises?
No, Your Honor. He advises me that he lives there with Ms. Neal and that her name is on the lease.
Oh, her name is on the lease.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So on the position 3, with regards to the battery domestic violence, the bond is going to be set at $2,500. and that's going to be a surety bond. With regards to the second case, simple battery domestic violence on February 13, 2022, that bond is going to be set at 2,500, and that's going to be a surety bond. No contact with Natalie Neal, spelled Neal or Neel, I'm not sure, to stay away from 794 Elmwood Avenue in Southeast Atlanta. Mr. Brown is to make sure he stays 200 yards away from Miss Neal, as well as from that location. He can return to that location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings, and that visit cannot exceed 2 hours. He's not to consume any illegal drugs, no alcohol, and not possess any weapons or any firearms. While he's out on bond, he will also complete a 2-week anger management program at his expense if he does make bond, but otherwise we will see him on May 5th with regards to both these cases.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, next case, please.
Position number 6, please.
Who represents Mr. Dinwiddie?
Wanda Gant, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. James Dinwiddie is case number 22 CR 002-391J. This is arising from an incident of March 7, 2022, in which he has been charged or accused of failure to obey traffic control devices, false report or application for a driver's license, driving without a valid license, giving false information to an officer. Mr. Toussaint, you may proceed. Oh, excuse me, sorry. Mr. Dinwiddie, you're represented by Ms. Wanda Gant, and you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Yes, Mr. Howard, you may now proceed.
21 total. All of his history come out of Illinois. 2019 suspended license, conviction. 2019 possession of a controlled substance, that was dismissed. 2018 suspended license. A 2018 seatbelt. What is this? It says driving revoked. What else? We got another suspended license from.
And this is for James Dinwiddie?
Dinwiddie, yeah.
Yeah. 2016. Got 2016 ag battery conviction. Got DUIs from 2014. Suspended license 2013. It's a lot of them.
All right. Ms. Mitchell?
Okay, Your Honor, the information that we have, we don't have the information that was just presented, but we do have that he was denied a license in Georgia in August of 2021, based on his driving history. But yes, as far as bond goes, there's a current bond of $5,500 surety on this case, and the state requests that that bond be reduced to the following. As to count 1, well, it'll be a $500 surety bond as to each count, totaling $2,000 surety bond, and no driving without a valid license, and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, 2 days after the incident, the defendant's brother filed a report for identity fraud, and so the reason we're recommending a surety bond is because we believe there will be additional charges forthcoming with that.
Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. James Dinwiddie is 41 years old. He has been in the Atlanta area for 7 months, along with his wife and 2 children. He has been married for 7 years. He is the proud father of 2 children, ages 16 and 17. He completed junior college in basic studies. At this time, he is employed as a studio grip tech at Union 479. Basically, he builds studio sets for local Tyler Perry Studios, etc. Your Honor, today we are denying the allegations. I am requesting a signature bond on Mr. Dinwiddie's behalf, and if Your Honor determines that he is ineligible, then I would ask that we go with the state's recommendations of the $2,000 surety bond, or $500 for each count. Thank you.
Thank you. On the failure to obey a traffic control device is $500 surety. False report or application for a driver's license is a $500 surety. Giving false information to an officer, that's going to be a $500 surety. And driving without a valid license, that's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial. His total bond is going to be a $6,500 split bond, and the $5,000 portion is going to be through pretrial. He will report to pretrial once a month. He is not to operate any vehicle in the state of Georgia, actually nowhere, unless he's got a valid driver's license, adequate automobile insurance, and proper registration for the vehicle he operates. And we will see him on May 5th. If he makes bond, then we will send him a new court date. Ms. Gant, I have a Prior Road address. Is that his correct address?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Yes, Mr. Dimwitty.
Mr. Dinwiddie, I would advise you to remain silent unless you have a question about your bond, and I have been in touch with your wife.
Okay, it's just a question. That doesn't apply for the vehicles that I drive while I work, right?
Let me be very clear. You cannot.
I mean, not a car.
Let me be very, very clear. You cannot sit in any driver's seat of any vehicle ever made by a human being until you have a valid driver's license.
Okay.
Does that clarify it for you?
Yeah.
Good. If you operate any vehicle, or if you get arrested for anything else, whether it's jaywalking or spitting or whatever, your pretrial bond, the $5,000 portion, will be revoked, and you'll be arrested, and you will have to be paying for that portion of the bond.
I understand, Your Honor.
Good.
Hey, this is per judge.
Per judge, yes, please. Ms. Millbrooks, please put down per judge. All right, next case, please.
Thank you.
Petition number 8. Hold on one moment, Judge.
Can a public defender, could you just tell my wife to come get me back?
Mr. Dinwiddie, I've spoken with your wife, sir. I will take care of it, okay?
I know she be trying not to get off work.
I've spoken with her, sir. I've
Okay,
spoken
thank
with her.
Position number 8 is next, Judge, please.
Sure. Talon Hodges is accused of simple battery domestic violence, case number 22 CR 002-393D from April 20th, 2022. And Mr. Hodges has a right to remain silent as so advised, and his attorney is Ms. Gant, Ms. Kim?
Your Honor, it'll be me.
Mr.
Attorney
Dark.
Dark.
Okay. All right. Mr. Hodges' attorney is Terrell Dark, and Mr. Tucson, any priors to Mr. Hodges?
First arrest.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. In this case, on April 20th, 2022, an officer, Cade Craddock of the Atlanta Police Department, responded to 820 West Marietta Street in apartment 1309 in Atlanta regarding a domestic dispute. And Your Honor, before I keep going, just want to advise the court, this case involves a cross defendant, the victim / cross defendant, Amani Bonilla, B as in boy, Onilla. She has not yet had her first appearance, and that case number for her is 22-16683.
Sorry, repeat that, 22-16683. Is that a booking number or the solicitor's number?
It's a booking number. I'm assuming, Your Honor, that she will have her first appearance tomorrow.
Okay.
So the mother of the cross defendant, Bonilla, had called 911 and advised dispatch that her daughter and her boyfriend, the defendant, Talon Hodges, had been involved in a domestic dispute and are living together. Officer Craddock spoke to both defendants at the incident location. Upon speaking to the defendant, he advised the officer that he and Bonilla had a verbal altercation regarding their dog earlier that day, that he was able to diffuse the situation earlier that day. But then later on that day, that verbal altercation turned into a physical one where the cross defendant got a knife, and she attempted to strike the victim, the defendant, with the knife, and he he grabbed her arm
I've read
and
the warrant, Ms. Tortorella, if you are reading the allegations of the warrant, but I'm more curious about who lives at the Marietta Street location and what is the state's recommendation on housing and bond.
I understand, Your Honor. Let me see here. So for the simple battery family violence, we're asking for a $2,000 surety. The conditions is that he have no contact with the victim, cross-defendant Amani Bonilla, that he stay away from 820 West Marietta Street, apartment 1309 in Atlanta, unless it is verified that Bonilla is not living there. A one-time escort, one-day anger management, no drugs or alcohol, and no new violations of Georgia law. We are not opposed to a signature bond, given that this is his first arrest, and nothing further, Your Honor.
Oh, and the other question, who owns the dog?
I'm not quite clear about, I think it's both their dogs,
Well,
according
that
to
becomes
background.
problematic, doesn't it? Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Dark, do you know?
I don't know who owns the dog, but I can inquire of the defendant if the court needs that information.
Well, he seems to say it's either him or her, Mr.
Both take care of the dog.
Okay. Thank you for
I think
making
that's
my
something
job
they'll have to
easier.
just sort out at a later date, Your Honor.
I totally agree. All right, so Mr. Dark, your client is going to get a $3,500 signature bond for pretrial. He is to report to pretrial once a month, and he's not to violate any of the conditions of his bond. The conditions
Okay,
of
Your
his
Honor.
bond
And
are as follows. No
And Your Honor,
con-
just before you get into that, I did want to shore up the information regarding the residency. That is his apartment. His name is on the lease only. She has elsewhere where she can reside, and I believe that her bond hearing could provide an alternate address. But that is his only means of, like, that's where he lives. He doesn't have any other place to live, and he's the only one on the lease.
Noted. As I was saying, no contact with Amina Bonilla, Bonilla. He's to stay 200 yards away from her, not contact her in any way, form, or manner, including in person, through a phone, a computer device, and any electronic device, on social media, or even through a third person. That means he can't contact her family or her friends or a mutual person to reach out to her. He may return to the 820 West Marietta Street apartment in Atlanta, Georgia. And he is going to be solely responsible for the animal, the pet, the dog that was entrusted to the both of them. This ruling does not give him possession of the dog. It just gives him the right to care for it until a final determination is made as to its ownership. Do you understand, Mr. Hodges? You can nod your head if you understand.
Yes, Your Honor, I understand.
All right. No illegal drugs, no weapons, no firearms. And while you are out on bond, you will attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program with the Fulton County Pretrial Services. If you violate the conditions of the bond, if you fail to comply with pretrial, or if you get arrested again for anything else, this signature bond will be converted to a surety bond or a cash bond, which means you will be arrested and you have to pay to get released the next time.
I understand.
Your next court date will be sent to you at the West Marietta location. Please make sure you show up. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Judge, I have position number 11. Mr. Lucas, next, please.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Victor Emmanuel Lucas is 2022 CR 002-397C. I'm sorry, that's Lucas Jr. And this is a citation for littering and a charge of misdemeanor obstruction of an officer. Incident date is April 21st, 2022. All right, Mr. Lucas, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is Ms. Wanda Gant. Ms. Tortorella, I'm familiar with the warrants in this case. What's your bond recommendation?
Your Honor, my bond recommendation is a $2,000 surety for the obstruction, for littering, a $500 surety bond, total of $2,500 in surety. Conditions is that he stay away from the mobile gas station at 121 Cleveland Avenue Southwest in Atlanta. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, this defendant does pose a risk of reoffending. He currently has an open cases actually, one being 22 CP 206586 for possession of controlled substance, Schedule 1 or 2 with intent to distribute, and possession of cocaine. This actually happened February 13th of this year, Your Honor, 2022. Then he also has another open case. It's a old case 14 PF 004711 for possession of marijuana with intent and driving without a license. And this is both of these cases are in Superior Court. He also has several convictions, 2019 battery family violence and cruelty to children in 3rd degree out of Fulton County State Court, 18 CR 009073J. December 9th, 2019, he pled guilty to another battery family violence in Fulton County State Court, 18 CR 009108J.
Does he have any obstruction convictions?
Yes, Your Honor, he
When
does.
was the last one?
2008 obstruction, Fulton State Court, that's 08 CR 339691. What I'm trying to get at, Your Honor, with these battery family violence convictions, are they're violent convictions, and therefore he does pose a risk to public safety. And it goes into the Ayala factors. And he does, again, given his record, pose a risk of reoffending. And he also poses a flight risk, as he had an FDA in 2019 out of Fulton and FDA out of Fulton again in 2014. Nothing further.
All right, thank you. On the littering, it's going to be a $500 signature bond through the jail. And on the misdemeanor obstruction, this is going to be per judge. He's going to be having a $2,500 signature bond through pretrial services. And he will report to pretrial once a month. And he will stay away from the Cleveland Avenue location. What was that location again? I'm sorry.
121 Cleveland Avenue. I believe that was southeast.
All right. And I believe that he made a he made bond, $9,000 good bond on February 14th, 2022 in his recent felony case. So that due to this arrest, he is going to have to deal with them on this, that particular matter. But if he fails to report to pretrial, if he gets arrested again for anything else, well, then that will be another $2,500 to pay. Thank you. Oh, his next court date is going to be sent to him at his address, and I have a very weird address. Ms. Gant, it just says Alta View. Is that correct?
Mr. Lucas, may you update your address?
My address is 2651 Alta View Drive.
Alta View Drive, and is that 30354?
Yes, 30354.
All right. Good luck, and hopefully you'll report to pretrial every month and stay away from that 121 Cleveland Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Your Honor, what was that total bond again? I apologize.
$2,500 signature bond through pretrial per judge for the obstruction, and $500 signature bond through the jail on littering.
So 3,000 total.
Correct. Split bond.
Judge, position number 12 is next, please.
12. Edward J. McAmer, is that correct? All right. And your case number is 22 CR 002400B. Mr. McAmer, you are accused of pointing a pistol at another and simple assault from a April 20th, 2022 incident. You've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is it's going to be Mr. Dark. Is this a conflict case? Or is it?
Yes, I think it was Mr. Dark.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your
No.
Honor, it is.
No problem. All right, Mr. Terrell Dock is going to be your attorney. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
No.
All right. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor, for pointing the gun, $5,000 surety bond, or the simple assault, a $2,000 surety bond, the total of $7,000 surety bond. Conditions, no contact with the victim, Keith Andrews, no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, we did have victim contact. The victim stated that the victim and the defendant are neighbors. They live in a condominium where the defendant lives below him. The victim stated that this is an ongoing issue with the defendant, that he also stated that ever since him and his family moved in on March 1st, the defendant has been calling the police on him, using racial slurs towards him, spitting at him, throwing water bottles at him. He has brushed up against his 9-year-old daughter and calling his wife bitch. Victim stated that he has tried to have mediation with him and their HOA, but the defendant stated that he does not talk to his kind. And the victim wants no contact. And I say all this, Your Honor, because it's very relevant to intimidation of witnesses and victims as part of the factors of the IOLA. Also, he does not have any no record, Your Honor, but given the facts of this case and what we've been told by the victim in this case, we do feel like a $7,000 surety bond is more than justifiable. Nothing further.
All right. Mr. Dark?
Yes, Your Honor, we're asking for a signature bond on this case, taking in the totality of circumstances, most notably the defendant's lack of criminal history. I get all that the prosecutor said, but those are all allegations at this point. And so again, we would just ask for the same treatment that everyone else receives. And most people on this calendar will receive a signature bond.
Okay.
Mr. Michael Meyer is 71 years of age. He does have a good address in Roswell where he's lived for several years. This is the only arrest ever, Your Honor. I do want to note for the court that, of course, this was some sort of BB gun. It was not a real gun. There is some ongoing dispute between the two. I think the HOA is attempting to intervene. The defendant does dispute the allegations against him at this time, Your Honor. He's lived in the state for the last 30 years, actually over 30 years. He's retired, Your Honor. I don't believe beyond today he will continue to qualify based upon some of the information he told me related to his finances. For the purpose of today, I will be representing him.
Understood.
And
Thank you.
Your Honor, don't mean to interrupt. The victim is on the line and he would like to speak.
If you'd like to unmute his screen and start the video, I think he may be. Who am I looking for?
Yes, my name is Keith Andrews. Can you see me?
No, I can't.
It won't let me start the video. I keep getting started, keep saying unable to access.
I don't know what to tell you, Mr. Andrews, but if your video is not on, I won't be able to address you.
Your Honor, if I may, if the defendant is on a cellular device, he will need to go into his settings and allow access for Zoom to access his camera.
Go to the Zoom.
All right, Mr. Andrews, have you?
I'm in the settings now and I'm looking for the Zoom.
All right, so I'm sorry, sir, but I have many cases and I really can't afford to wait on you to figure out the technology. All right. Thank you. If the host would like to mute Keith Andrews, please. Thank you. All right, on the bond for Edward J. McNamara on pointing or aiming a gun or pistol at another, that's going to be $1,000 surety bond. On the simple assault, that's going to be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. It's a total of a $6,000 signature bond, a split bond. Mr. McNamara, you have a $6,000 split bond. On the pistol matter, it's going to be a $1,000 surety bond you would have to pay to bond out. And according to Mr. Terrell Dock, you do not qualify for appointed services, so you will have to retain your own attorney. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
On the signature bond portion, the simple assault is a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial services. You can maintain the $5,000 signature bond through pretrial as long as you comply with the conditions of the bond. The first condition is that you shall stay away from the entire apartment complex at Quail Run. While this case is pending, you will have to find alternative living arrangements. You can return to your property one time only with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. But after that, you would have to remain at a different alternative location pending while this case is open and pending. You are to have no contact with Keith Andrews and members of his family during the course of this action until this case is disposed of, which means you are to stay 200 yards away. That's the length of 2 football fields. You have to stay 200 yards away from Mr. Andrews and the members of his family. You are not to contact them in any way, form, or manner, and you're not to discuss them on any social media platform. You're not to possess any weapons or any firearms of any kind, whether it's a toy or an actual firearm. If you own any of these items, you need to relinquish them to the possession of the law enforcement. While you are out on bond, you, as a condition of your pretrial bond, you shall also comply with any mandate issued by your HOA to attend and complete in good faith any mediation that is organized by them. For purposes of the mediation and only for purposes of the mediation, you may have contact with the alleged victims in this case for purposes of the mediation, but there shall be no verbal or profane or abusive verbal contact in that manner. Do you understand, sir?
Yes.
All right. Do you have any questions about your bond?
No.
All right. Your next court date will be May 5th. If you do make bond, then you will be given a new court date. Within 30 days of being released, you must update the court with your new address. Thank you.
All right. Position number 15 is next, Judge, please.
Jeremiah Marquis Nettlesby, case number 22 CR 002-396J is accused of criminal trespass from April 20th, 2021. Mr. Nettlesby, you have been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is it Ms. Kim? Ms. Kim, all right. And Mr. Toussaint, any priors on Mr. Nettlesby? I understand he's got 2 points at the present time.
Correct.
All right, is it Gwinnett and I can't remember the other one?
College Park.
All right. Anything else?
This is third arrest, 2018 drug possession.
All right.
Out of Gwinnett. And another 2018 possession of a controlled substance dismissed.
All right. Do we know what the College Park matter is about?
Hold on. Obstruction.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Cheney, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Bond recommendation
Yes, please.
would be a $3,000 surety bond, conditions banishment from all MARTA stations. He's charged, as you can see from the warrant, from entering into a restricted area. The location was the H.E. Holmes MARTA station.
All right. Ms. Kim, what is your bond recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like to request for surety bond, signature bond. Right now, there is a $1,000 surety bond. However, since she has no flight risk, she's been here from 2008, and she has one child that she has to support, 5 years old, and she's working at factory making plastic bottles.
Miss Kim, I'm sorry to interrupt, but we are
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about Jeremiah Nettlesby, position number 15. I just want to be sure that your recitation applies to Mr. Okay, and do we address Jeremiah Nettlesby as Miss Nettlesby?
Yes.
Oh, my calendar says male, so.
Oh.
Just wanted to be sure.
Your Honor, you're right.
Which I rarely am, so I'm going to take that. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
I believe this is right, Mr. I'm sorry.
No
I
problem,
apologize
no
about
problem.
that.
I just want to be sure that you're reciting the correct, I know we
Yes,
have a lot of
yes.
cases this afternoon, so.
Yes.
All right, so we are addressing Jeremiah Nettlesby, and Mr. Cheney has recommended a $3,000 surety bond. What's your response?
Signature bond, Your Honor, please.
Okay. This is Mr. Nettlesby's third arrest. He's got 2 holes, one in Gwinnett and one in College Park.
Correct.
The bond is going to be set at a $5,000 signature bond through the jail, and he's going to be released to the Gwinnett County hold only.
Thank you.
All right. He cannot be released on his own volition. He's going to be released to the Gwinnett County hold, after which he will going to have to take care of the College Park hold.
Yes.
Mr. Nettlesby, you are to stay away from all MARTA property. You're not to be on any MARTA train station, no bus station, none of their offices. You cannot be on their sidewalks, their parking lot, or use their facilities like a bathroom or anything to that effect. You are definitely to stay away from all their restricted areas, including where the buses go and so forth. If you return to any MARTA property and you are cited or arrested again for criminal trespass, your $5,000 signature bond through the jail will be converted to a surety bond or a cash bond. Do you have any questions about your bond, sir?
But how long is the ban?
Until further order of the court. So until you get a court order that says that the ban is lifted, you are to stay away from all MARTA property. This signature bond through the jail will require the Gwinnett County Police to come pick you up in order to respond to their hold. You cannot be released on your own volition. You're being released to the Gwinnett County hold. Do you understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Next court date will be May 5th, if he's still with us, pending the pickup from Gwinnett.
Yes, Your Honor.
Position number 21 is next judge, please.
21. Mr. Sean Tarver is accused of fair evasion and criminal trespass, case number 22 CR 002-404B, from an incident date of, yesterday. And Mr. Tucson, thank you. I'm familiar with his history. Mr. Cheney, would you like to chime in?
Yes, Your Honor, we recommend a $2,000 surety bond. Conditions would be stay away from MARTA. He has already been given a MARTA suspension, which will be effective until May 25th, 22. Reiterate that as suspension: no alcohol, drugs, no weapons, no new violations of Georgia law. The criminal trespass and the fair evasion are the 2 charges on the warrant. So the court would separate those any way the court would like. That is our case, Your Honor.
Thank you. Yes, and Mr. Tarver has been advised of his right to remain silent. His attorney is Ms. Kim. Ms. Kim,
Yes.
Did you have a response?
Yes, Your Honor. We would like to request for signature bond. He has been unemployed. He is disabled, and due to his disability, it's very hard for him to get a job. And he has been here in Georgia for 40 years, all his life. So we would like to request for a signature bond.
Okay. On the fair evasion, it's going to be 250. On the criminal trespass, is going to be 1750. That's going to be a surety bond. So from what I understand, he has already been told to stay away from all MARTA property. And so, Mr. Tarver, I don't know if you understand, but you cannot use MARTA. You
Okay.
cannot return to any of its locations.
Yeah, man.
You cannot go to his bus station. You cannot go to his train station. You cannot go to his parking lot, to his sidewalk, to his bathrooms, to his offices.
Okay.
If you don't understand, please ask me now.
Yeah, man, I do.
You do? You sure?
Yes, man.
All right. Judge Morrow has already told you to stay away from all MARTA property, and yet you still came back.
Yeah, because they had that suspicion. They had that suspension that I didn't know about.
Well, he already told you to stay away, and I'm telling you to stay away. I don't care whether there's a suspension.
Okay.
Now a judge is telling you to stay away.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter whether there is a suspension or not.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. We will see you on May 5th.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Position number 5 is next, please, Judge.
Mr. Henry Burks, case number 22 CR 002402C, is accused of simple battery domestic violence from April 20th. And with regards to this case, I believe we have, I don't know, do we have a cross defendant or a co-defendant?
We do, Your
Amir-
Honor. It's
Amir
Tariq
Raines?
Raines, number 17.
Yeah. Is there an Amir Raines in the courtroom?
Tariq Raines, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Tariq Amir Raines, sorry.
Judge. I have both of them in courtroom number 2.
All right, could Mr. Raines come forward and stand behind him? Is that allowed?
Yes,
They're
Judge.
gonna stand.
They're gonna stand beside each other. You stand on one side, you stand right here.
Whichever one y'all feel comfortable. All right. So Mr. Henry Burks, as I said, is accused of simple battery from April 20th, 2022. We have a co-defendant, Tariq Amir Raines, case number 22 CR 002403C. And he's accused of simple battery domestic violence, same incident date. Mr. Raines and Mr. Burke, you've both been advised of your right to remain silent. And for Mr. Henry Burks, his attorney is going to be, is it Ms. Kim or Mr. Doc?
Attorney Dark.
It's me, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Doc represents Mr. Burks. And with regards to Mr. Raines, that will be Ms. Kim.
Your Honor, actually, his father, who is also attorney, Mr. Melvin Raines, is here. I see him on the screen. So I was told that his father was going to represent.
Is that for my client? Who is that for? I'm sorry.
That's
For
for-
Mr. Tariq Raines, position
Okay.
number 17.
All right, counsel for Tariq Amir Raines, if you could please start your video and unmute your screen.
Yeah, I'm on, Judge. Can you see me, ma'am?
Yes, I can see you now. Thank you, sir.
Yes,
All right,
ma'am.
thank you. Okay, so let's begin with Henry Burks. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
This is fourth arrest, 2018 simple assault out of DC. It was non-pros. 2010 arrest in South Carolina for drug possession, marijuana. And that was a conviction, and a 2011 trespass conviction. That's it.
All right, thank you. Moving on to Mr. Tariq Raines. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
6 total. Last arrest was back in September. Possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission. Possession of a Schedule 1 or 2 controlled substance with intent, sale of marijuana. Possession of cocaine with intent. Possession of meth with intent. And possession of a Schedule 2. That's an open pretrial case.
What's the bond amount?
You know, they don't have amounts. It's just
It's a
a
UJR
UJR.
case?
Correct.
Okay,
So, yeah.
all right.
2020 ag stalking, it was dismissed. He has a battery conviction out of Bibb County from 2016, 2015 shoplifting conviction, and a 2015 disorderly conduct conviction out of Bibb County.
All right, thank you so much. Mr. Cheney, let's do position 5 first with regards to Burks. What's your recommendation for this case?
Bond recommendation, Your Honor, is $2,000. No objection to signature bond. No violent contact with co-defendant, not co-defendant, the victim
victim?
slash code or slash defendant, with Tariq Raines. And if you want my recommendation for Mr. Raines, it will be the same, Your Honor. This was, both charges changed to simple battery, but there was no visible injuries between the two individuals. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dark and Mr. Raines, based on the prosecutor's recommendation, with regards to Henry Burks, the bond is set at $5,000. It is a signature bond through pretrial services. Mr. Burks, you are to have no further violent contact with Tariq Raines, no drugs, no alcohol, and no weapons. And you will attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program through pretrial. And your next court date will be sent to you at your current mailing address. That concludes Mr. Burks. You may go and be seated. With regards to Mr. Tariq Raines, on the simple battery domestic violence, your bond is going to be set at $10,000. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. Your next court date will be sent to you at your current mailing address. You are to have no further violent contact with Henry Burks, no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. You will be, and no alcohol. You will be subject to random screens by pretrial services for any illegal drugs or any alcohol. If you get arrested again for anything else, your $10,000 signature bond will be revoked and converted to a cash bond only. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Just make sure that your address is current with us, and you will also complete a one-day anger awareness program through the pretrial services. All right. Mr. Dark, Mr. Raines, do you have any questions?
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor. I think that Mr. Raines was living with the victim slash co-defendant. Is it possible for him to have a sheriff escort him out to that place so he can get the remainder of his things?
I've got a no further violent contact as recommended by the prosecution, but if you want me to remove him from the shared residence.
Oh, no, okay, I may have misunderstood it, Judge. I mean, if it's a way they can work out a situation where he can remove his things, then I'm okay with that.
It's entirely up to the two of them. They're grown men, but right now they have a court order that they are to have no further physical or verbal altercations between themselves. And if there's any future altercation that gets the police involved, well, then they both go back to jail. Simple as that.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Mr. Raines? I mean, Tariq Raines?
I was unlawfully evicted, so that's what happened. I can't change the law.
Rick, you don't need to say anything, man. It's you. The good judge gave you a signature bond. It's good enough. You can tell your story later.
So what about this open pretrial case?
I need the police though because I can't go over there. I can't.
All right.
Ain't no way we can work it out as men. That's why we got into the conflict. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Thank you. Is this the, I'm sorry, 133 Trinity Avenue Southwest location?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, Mr. and Ms. Middlebrooks, we're going to include this with Mr. Tariq Raines Bond. Mr. Raines, although he has no further violent contact with Henry Burks, Mr. Tariq Raines shall stay away from 133 Trinity Avenue Southwest, Atlanta, Georgia, 30303. He may return to the location one time only with a police officer to retrieve his personal belongings. That visit cannot exceed 2 hours. So make sure that if you need to move a lot of stuff, you have your moving truck and that you have assistance to get your stuff out. But after that one-time visit, you're not to return to that location.
Yes,
Do you
ma'am.
understand, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And with regards to the pretrial bond through UJR, this particular arrest, Mr. Howard, has to be reported to the district attorney's office, and they can decide what they want to do with the UJR bond. But it remains as is right now.
What you mean?
You asked me what's going to happen to the UJR bond in the criminal case, in the felony case?
Yeah, normally I would come off of the bond.
And what would be the amount?
They'll have to set it tomorrow.
If that's what pretrial does, then it's up to pretrial and the DA's office.
All right.
All right. Mr. Rains, Mr. Attorney Rains.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Your client has an open felony case you are aware of?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
All right. As you see that he was given a UJR bond, that judicial release bond that was coined during the pandemic situation. It appears that the standard protocol is for pretrial services to come off that bond and put him back on the felony calendar to revisit his bond.
Yes, ma'am, I understand.
Right? So please be aware that your client will probably be on the calendar either tomorrow or Saturday.
Okay, thank you so much, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And this case is per judge, Katari.
Correct. Thank you, Mr. Rains. You are free to have a seat. Next case, Sarge.
Position number 1, please, Judge.
Kelvin Benyard, middle name Tyrese, is accused of battery, domestic violence from April 20th, 2022. Case number 22 CR 002-387Y. Mr. Benyard, you've been advised of your right to remain silent, and your attorney is going to be Miss Wanda Gant. Or
It'll be me, Your Honor.
all
Sorry,
right.
Your Honor.
If I don't hear anyone, I'm going to go with Mr. Dark then. Okay. Your attorney is Terrell Dark. And with regards to this case, Mr. Tucson, any prize?
Fourth arrest. Last was 2018 shoplifting. 2018 misdemeanor obstruction, criminal damage to property, second degree, entering auto. That's open, 18 SC 163951.
All right. Ms. Mitchell, I'm familiar with the warrant. What's the state's recommendation?
Yes, Your Honor, we're recommending a $2,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Miss Colnett, spelled Kulnette,
Your Honor,
Gardner.
Your Honor.
Oh,
please be quiet and I will give you a chance to speak.
A stay away from the address 1640 Emerald Avenue, Southwest Atlanta, Georgia. 1-day anger awareness course and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. And that's going to be based on the nature of the allegations.
All right, thank you. All right, there was a young lady who wanted to speak. Mr. Dark, is that the alleged victim in this case?
Your Honor, I'm not entirely sure. I do know the alleged victim is his mother, but I'm not sure if the person speaking is his mother or the victim.
All right. Yes, the lady who chimed in just now, I see a Galaxy A11. All right, you need to unmute your screen, ma'am.
I'm the mother.
And what's your name, please?
Quinette Gardner.
All right. Ms. Gardner, may I place you under oath?
Yes, you can.
Please raise your right hand. The other right hand, thank you. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
All right. And how do you know Kelvin Benyard?
That's my biological son.
All right. And are you the person allegedly involved in this case?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. What would you like to tell me, Ms. Gardner?
If possible, I would like for my son to have a no violence bond. I found a program in which he can enroll into, which would help him with anger management and it will also help him be more productive in the community as well.
And what's that program called?
It's called Gangsters to Growers. It shows them how to grow vegetables and everything. And she also works with anger management and everything as well.
I see. Okay. All right. Mr. Dark? Thank you, Ms. Gardner. Thank you.
Yes, Your Honor, no objection to that. We would just ask that the defendant be allowed to have no violent contact with his mother as well. That is his mother. I do understand the nature of the allegations against the defendant at this particular time. Your Honor, he does have an alternative residence to reside at. If the court does say that he cannot have contact with her, he will reside with his aunt who lives down the street. But other than that, Your Honor, we would just ask for a signature bond.
And may I have the aunt's name?
He did not provide that to me, Your Honor.
So we don't have an aunt. And do we have the aunt's address?
I do have it. It is 489 McAllister Street.
McAllister Street.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
In Atlanta.
And Miss Colnette Gardner, are you aware of this relative who lives on McAllister Street?
No.
Oh, okay. All right, so we don't know whether there is an aunt who lives down the street from McAllister. So I don't think there is an aunt that lives on McAllister. All right. Okay. Mr. Kelvin Benyard, with regards to this charge of battery domestic violence, the initial warrant was for simple battery, but given the allegations set forth in the warrant, the prosecution has upgraded it from simple battery to battery domestic violence. Your bond is going to be set at $2,500. It is going to be a surety bond. You are to have no contact with Colnette Gardner, Gardner. You are to stay away from 1640 Emerald Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia. You cannot live with your mother until further order of the court. You may return one time only with a police officer to retrieve your belongings, but you cannot live at the Emerald Avenue location. And after today, you're not to have any contact with Colnette until further order of the court. That means no contact in person, not through any kind of phone or computer device, or not through a third person. Your next court date is going to be May 5th, 2022. If you do not make bond until then, Mrs. Gardner, I would recommend that you reach out to the attorney, Terrell Dark, with this particular program that you have for your son. And once you have the details, in other words, what's the program, where it's being held, who organizes it, who is the organizer or the company for that program, I will be glad to reconsider that releasing him into that program. But presently, he has to have no contact with you. Thank you.
Your Honor, how much was the bond?
$2,500.
How much of it need to be paid?
10 to 15%. And he cannot live with you and he cannot have any contact with you.
But he has nowhere to go.
Apparently, he's told his attorney he has an alternative place. I don't know where that is, but he has some place according to him.
He don't have nowhere.
Miss Gardner, I'm not saying what I've just mentioned is true or false. I'm just telling you this is what he's told his attorney. So please reach out to his attorney. Thank you. That concludes this case.
Position number 7 is next, please. Mr. Ford.
We have State versus Daquan Shamar Ford, 22 CR 002392F. Mr. Ford has been accused of battery, domestic violence from April 20th, 2022. And Mr. Ford, you have a right to remain silent as so advised, and your attorney is going to be Mr. Dark. Terrell Dark, do you represent Mr. Ford? Or Ms. Wanda Gant? All right, this is perplexing.
It's the first arrest, I'll say
It
that.
should have been Mr. Dart, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wait, let's give him a few moments. You may be trying to reach Ms. Colnett. Mr. Terrell Dark, are you available?
Honor.
Yes,
Your
Ms. Gant.
Honor, I received word that Daquan Ford was a felony transfer.
All right, let's confirm. Ms. Mitchell, any confirmation of that?
No.
This is position 7, Daquan Shamar Ford.
I will go back to my email this morning.
All right. Should this have been your case then, if it's not?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Sarge, could we put Mr. Ford on hold right now until we verify?
Yes, we can go to position number 9, Judge.
Thank
Mr. Hunt, please. Okay.
Mr. Kelvin Bernard Hunt is case number 22 CR 002394G, accused of driving, fleeing and eluding, fleeing or attempting to elude a police officer and speeding on April 20th, 2022. Mr. Hunt, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of the case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and your counsel is Ms. Wanda Gant. Mr. Tucson, any priors?
24 total. He has an open ag stalking, fleeing an officer. I think he went to court for that yesterday. March 2020, probation violation, battery DV, ag assault, failure to appear for possession of marijuana with intent, public indecency.
All right, thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For fleeing and eluding, we would like the $1,000 surety bond to increase to a $3,000 surety, given his history. For the speeding up, for the $1,000 surety already set to increase to a $2,000 surety bond. That'll be a total of $5,000 in surety. Conditions is that he take a defense driving course while he's out on bond. No drugs or alcohol, no weapons, and no new violations of Georgia law. Your Honor, a few of the reasons why we believe this defendant should not get a signature bond is the fact that this is not his first time fleeing and eluding from a police officer. And as a matter of fact, in this case, Your Honor, as you're well aware, he was stopped due to speeding 116 miles per hour in a 65 mile per hour zone. He then, the officer then conducted a traffic stop, told the defendant why he was being stopped. And then as he asked the defendant to step out of the vehicle in order to search the vehicle, the defendant then sped off. And this started in Roswell and ended up in Alpharetta. Then we have this open case 2020 CP 208412, aggravated stalking and fleeing and eluding again. When I checked this, Your Honor, he was being held without bond. Not sure if that has changed.
It's a $26,000 surety bond.
Okay, the incident date actually was 3 days before this case, Your Honor, April 17, 2022, where he failed to bring his vehicle to a stop. And the incident location involved a victim who had issued a TPO order against defendant. Therefore, to add, he also poses a risk to public safety. He's a flight risk, Your Honor. He's fled from police twice. And given his record, he has 24 cycles. He has a violation of probation out of Fulton County here in this jurisdiction, which occurred March 30th, 2020, a parole violation back in 2015, a current FTA out of Fulton County issued March 31st, 2022, Another FTA back in 2018, a 2009 FTA for failure to appear at a trial and register municipal court, Georgia. He has several convictions, seatbelt violation out of Atlanta Municipal Court based on his driver's history, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute, conviction at a Fulton County Superior Court.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Terrell.
Yes, Your Honor.
I understand the state's position. Thank you. Ms. Gant?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Kelvin Hunt is 31 years old. He has been in the Atlanta, Georgia area his entire life. He has a 7-year-old daughter, and he is currently paying child support. Mr. Hunt completed high school. He has 2 years of college in the area of business management. He is employed at Health Tech and has been in that position since 2014. He denies the allegations, and Your Honor, we heard that he received a $26,000 surety bond today. I have been in contact with his mother, and she informs me that she will not be able to pay. Mr. Hunt is presumed innocent in these allegations. He's been gainfully employed since 2014, and we are very interested in him being able to bond out and keep his job so that he can continue to provide for the care of his child. Therefore, I am, Your Honor, asking, given that these are driving offenses, although they're serious charges, I am asking Your Honor for a signature bond for each. And if Your Honor is not inclined to do so because he's ineligible, then I would recommend that we leave bond as set, and that would be $1,000 for each offense. Thank you, Your Honor. And we are opposed at this point to the defensive driving class.
Oh, okay. With regards to the driving, fleeing, or attempting to elude, that's going to be a $2,500 surety bond. With regards to the speeding, that's a $1,500 surety bond. Total bond is set at $4,000, and that's going to be a surety bond. Conditions to the bond are no illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms, no driving at all, no contact with Kecia Holston. He's not to contact Kecia, Kecia Holston, in any way, form, or manner, especially from the jail, either directly or through a third party. And his next court date is going to be May 5th. Thank you.
And Your Honor, if I may, I have an update for Daquan for default. I was initially assigned to him. However, that is a conflict case. So
Okay.
we are conflict attorney.
Understood. Thank you. All right, next case, Sarge, is that Mr. Ford?
Oh, we can go back to Mr. Ford.
No, who do you have right now? Who do you have?
Number 18, Mr. Reed.
18? Okay, we'll do 18 first. Thank you. Mr. Terrell Dark, are you available?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry, I'm here.
All right, we have another case, Daquan Shamar Ford. I don't know if you've had an opportunity to interview him.
Yes, Your Honor, I did speak with him briefly.
Okay, all right. We will get to him shortly, but in the meantime, we are handling position number 18, Antoine Reeves. Case
That is
number-
also mine.
Okay, perfect. Mr. Reeves is 22 CR 002372C, accused of battery from April 19th, 2022. Mr. Reeves has been advised of his right to remain silent, and his attorney is Terrell Dark. Mr. Tucson, any priors, please?
Judge, I'm gonna defer to the state on that history. I didn't
Okay.
have that one. Did we do him yesterday?
I
We did.
see.
Yeah, we did, but he was back on a pull sheet.
Okay, so yeah, that's one of the ones right there, Judge.
All right. So let me just make sure that I do beg your pardon. Yes, so Mr. Dark represents him today. He was seen by Judge Williams yesterday. Mr. Cheney, do you know what was his bond from Judge Williams?
Yes, Your Honor. She granted a $3,000 surety bond,
Okay,
and we would ask that remain in place. The conditions she imposed were no contact with the victim, stay away from Colony Creek Apartments located at 445 Cleveland Avenue, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol, no new violations. And that was the bond that she handed down yesterday, and he did not have counsel yesterday. And that's why we're bringing him back today. If you want to hear the short recitation of the facts, I'll be happy to give you those.
actually, And his reset date's May 3rd, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Dark?
Yes, Your Honor.
All
Mr.
right.
Reeves is, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. I was going to say, same ruling. I'm going to be consistent about this. As Judge Williams has already established a bond, I'm going to defer to her ruling. His bond remains at $3,000. And this is Mr. Reeves' opportunity to know that his attorney is Terrell Dark, and we will revisit his case on May 3rd.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. That concludes this case.
This is number 7 is next, Judge.
All right, now we have Mr. Ford, and Mr. Ford has already been advised of his right to remain silent. His case number is 22 CR 002-392F, and his counsel is Mr. Terrell Dark. And I believe this was his first arrest. Is that correct, Toussaint?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Mitchell, what's the state's recommendation, please?
Your Honor, we're recommending $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with the victim, Mr. John Kennedy, a stay away from the address 5555 Roswell Road, Atlanta, Georgia, and a 1-day anger awareness course and no alcohol, drugs, and weapons. Your Honor, our victim advocate had an opportunity to speak with Mr. Kennedy, and he states that he's been in a relationship with the defendant since December, and that relationship's been violent the entire time. The police has been called about 16 times during the course of their relationship, but this is the first time defendant got arrested. The night of the incident, Mr. Kennedy came home around 2 a.m. and the defendant was upset and began cursing and yelling at him. Mr. Kennedy left the home and came back around 7 a.m. to shower. The defendant started yelling and cursing again and took his keys, at which point Mr. Kennedy walked out of the house. That's when defendant followed him and hit him in the back. And Mr. Kennedy was clear that he does not want any contact and he wants to stay away from the residence. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right. I think the state has to amend its accusation by including the full name. You've only got him listed as Kennedy.
Yes, Your Honor, we weren't provided that until our victim advocate got a hold of him, so we're going to amend that.
All right, and that would be, what's the full name that you just said? I'm so sorry.
John,
John.
John, common spelling.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Dark?
Yes, Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond on this case. Mr. Ford is 21 years of age. He's employed as a childcare worker. Your Honor, he has provided a good valid address and he has been in the state for the past year. Nothing further.
All right.
Your Honor, Mr. Kennedy is also on the line if you'd like to hear from him.
Oh, there he is. Okay. All right, Mr. John Kennedy, my name is Judge Lal. If you want to address the court with regards to this case, you would need to unmute your screen. All right, and what's your full name, please?
My full name is John Michael Kennedy.
John Michael Kennedy, okay. And so the state is going to amend this accusation to make sure they have the correct name on the accusation. Mr. Kennedy, if you'd like to address the court, I need to place you under oath. Do you mind?
No, ma'am.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to tell me? You can put your hand down.
I would like to tell you that I have been harassed and bullied and extremely manipulated by the defendant.
Okay.
He is.
Let me ask you. Stop. Have you applied for a protective order?
No, ma'am, I have not.
All right. You can always go to Superior Court and file online for a protective order. But in the meantime, I'm going to issue an order requiring him to stay away from you and to stay away from the location. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am. Could you also add on there to stay away from my place of employment and have no contact with anyone?
Listen. When he's required to have no further contact with you, that means he has to stay 200 yards away from wherever you happen to be.
Yes, but I just don't want any contact, like any email to my boss or calls to my boss or anything of the sort.
He cannot contact you or cannot contact any third party with regards to anything about you.
Okay, thank you.
But meanwhile, you might want to consider the protective order route as well.
Yes, ma'am. I have already started the process yesterday.
Oh, okay. So you do know about the protective order. All right.
Yes, ma'am, I do. I am aware of it.
All right. Mr. Ford, your bond is going to be set at $5,000. It's going to be a signature bond, which means you can sign up for your bond through pretrial services. You are to have no further contact with John Michael Kennedy. You are to stay away from 5555 Roswell Road in Roswell, Georgia, whichever happens, the entire complex or that particular location. You may return to that location one time only, with a police officer to retrieve your personal belongings. You're not to consume any drugs, you're not any illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, and you're not to possess any weapons or any firearms. As I have clarified, you are to stay 200 yards away from Mr. Kennedy, which means that wherever he happens to be, even at home or work and so forth. You're not to contact him also indirectly through a third party, through a phone, electronic device, or any kind of social media platform. You're not to, and that means also not contacting about him to any other third party, like an employee or so forth. Yes, Mr. Kennedy?
Ma'am, all his belongings have already been retrieved by his best friend. He has no reason to come back on the premises or to my apartment.
What is the best friend's name?
Her name is Courtney. I'm not sure about her last name, but I gave her his keys. I gave her his phone, his debit card,
please stop,
all of his.
Please stop. Okay. So, Mr. Ford, once you are released on bond, you may go to this friend called Courtney. And if you believe you have any more items at the location, you can go back one time only, but you must have a police officer with you. And if you retrieve any items that are in dispute, let's say, for example, if there is a chair that Mr. Kennedy says belongs to him and you say it belongs to you, you cannot touch that chair. If it's an item in dispute, you cannot retrieve it. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Mr. Ford, what would you like to say about the bond?
Your Honor, this whole case has been made
Stop.
up.
Stop. If you want to talk about the facts of the case, you're not only going to incriminate yourself, your words are going to be used against you by the prosecution, and you're going to make it so hard for your attorney to represent you. You want to continue?
No, Your Honor.
Smart move. All right. Your next court date is going to be sent to your new address. So once you are released on a signature bond, you have 30 days to update the court with your new address so we can send to you your notices. Thank you.
Judge, that's all I have in the courtroom too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Did we do Roden? Number 19?
He got interviewed by Ms. Kim. That should be a
Yes, waiver
Okay,
of
okay.
appearance.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay.
you,
And
Kim.
we're going to address that towards the end. But right now we're going on to courtroom 2.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon, Deputy Milton. Deputy Milton, how many folks do you have?
2 ladies. I have coming up position 14, Miss Nelson. Come have a seat right there for me, please, young lady.
Mr. Terrell Dark, do you represent any of the ladies in South Annex?
Yes, Your Honor, I represent one of them.
Okay.
And her name is
Phillips?
Shaquita Rowland.
There's no Miss Rowland over here.
We do have a Shakita Rowland.
Oh, we already handled that one. I'm sorry.
Yeah, she got a split bond.
No, I guess that would be, let me see.
I have Miss Nelson and Miss Phillips.
No, Your Honor, it looks like my business is concluded. May I be excused?
Yes, Mr. Dark. Thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a good one.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, we are addressing 2 cases at the South Annex. Ms. Nelson, my name is Judge Lal. You have a case in which you've been accused of criminal trespass from April 20th, 2022. Case number is 22 CR 002399D. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Kim.
J. Kim.
All right. Any priors, Mr. Tucson?
Nelson, 3rd arrest. She was arrested about 3 weeks ago for trespass and giving false name. December 2021 trespass.
Thank you. Ms. Tortorella?
Yes, Your Honor. For the criminal trespass, we're recommending a $2,000 surety bond. The conditions is that she stay away from Unique Cuts and Sweets, and that's spelled HE apostrophe, and then the word unique, and then Cuts is CUTZ as in zebra, and Sweets traditional spelling, 410 14th Street in Atlanta, Georgia. That she have no contact with the victim, Joshua Fitzgerald, who is the owner of the establishment, no weapons, no drugs or alcohol, and that she have some sort of housing placement. Your Honor, she also has, besides the 2021, I don't know if a pretrial stated I think he stated 2021 criminal trespass, but I see two. I see a March 28th, 2022 criminal trespass and an open criminal trespass for last year, which was December 22nd of 2021. Okay. Both arrests are from the Atlanta Police Department. And she does pose a risk of reoffending given the what I've just stated, Your Honor. We did speak to the victim. He states that the defendant was sleeping in front of his business and they asked her to leave or move from the front of the door. And the victim stated that the defendant began yelling at them and cursing. Then the victim stated that the officers asked the defendant to leave and the defendant then walked away, but then came right back. The victim stated that he does not want to pursue this and he just wants the defendant to get some help. Okay. And based on what the victim has stated, Your Honor, that's the reason why, and just also on her past two criminal trespass charges, I feel like she has some housing issues, and that's why I'm imposing that housing placement in the recommendation. Nothing further.
Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. She is 25 years old and she has been here in Georgia about 3 months. She claims that she is a traveler. She is self-employed as she braids her hair, hairs of clients, and she's been doing it about 2 years. She has graduated from high school and college. In this, she claims that she has a PhD in criminal justice. I do recommend for housing and behavioral health education. And we would like to request for a signature bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Bond is set at $1,000. It is a surety bond to stay away from the establishment at 410 14th Street, Atlanta, Georgia. Next court date is set at May 5th. And if Ms. Kim, if you can arrange for a social worker to speak to her.
Yes.
Be able to get a better idea of housing and so forth by May 5th.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, we have position 16, Ms. Phillips.
Ms. Allie Phillips is accused of simple battery domestic violence on April 20th, 2022 in case number 22 CR 002-398C. Ms. Phillips, you've been advised of your right to remain silent. Anything you say about the facts of your case, your statements can and will be used against you. You have a right to an attorney, and representing you is Ms. Kim. Mr. Tucson, I see there are 4 cycles. Anything else?
Yeah, let me give you you want the charges?
Yes, please.
2018 trespass dismissed. 2017 cruelty in the first, not prosecuted / not presented. Aggravated stalking, dead docket. Criminal trespass, dead docket.
All right.
That's all one arrest. And
All
another
right.
2017 disorderly conduct, trespass, and obstruction. Those were dismissed.
Mr. Cheney, what do you recommend?
State's recommendation, Your Honor, is a $3,000 surety bond because it is between family members. the defendant and her mother, and no violent contact with Sherry McCullough, MCCULLOUGH. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, no violations of Georgia law. The victim's advocate did talk with the mother. She said she is not fearful of the defendant and does not.
I'm here.
I know you're there. I know you're there. Just hold. Just hold. Sorry, Mr. Cheney. You may continue, please. Sorry about that.
Yes, ma'am. Our victim's advocate notes or that the mother said that she is not fearful, that the actual contact was not intentional, that they were trying to break up a fight between two daughters, and that but however, the officer did respond. We have not seen the body cam, so we don't know the whole story. And I would just say, based on our recommendation, that recommendation is because it is between family members, and that is our case, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Cheney. Ms. McCullough, I can see you initially appeared by video, but now you're by phone. Are you able to start your video?
Yes, it said for me to start, and I did start it.
Good.
Yes, I am on.
If you want to say something, please raise your right hand.
Yes.
You solemnly swear and affirm the testimony you provide will be the truth to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Thank you. What would you like to tell me?
My daughter, both of my daughters was ready to fight. Well, they were fighting, and I broke it up. So I don't even know who hit me.
Hang on, stop. I'm going to give you a chance to rephrase that sentence. Both your daughters were raised to fight?
No, they were starting to fight each other.
Oh, okay.
No, they wasn't raised. I'm sorry.
Training a pair of wrestlers out there.
And I started getting in between them. So I don't know who hit me, but I can't say my daughter Ali hit me. And the officer told her, "Oh, you hit your mom and you're being arrested." And I'm like, "No, we didn't say that."
Well, okay. Anything else?
Yes, my daughter would never. What she did in the past is her past, but my daughter would never, ever put a hand on me.
It's good to know.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. McCullough. Thank you.
Yes.
Bond is going to be set at $2,500. It's going to be a signature bond through pretrial services. She can sign up for her bond. She may return to live with Miss Sherry McCullough. She's to have no further violent contact with Sherry McCullough. No illegal drugs, no alcoholic beverages, no weapons, and no firearms. And she will attend and complete a one-day anger awareness program through pretrial. Her next court date will be sent to her at her address, which is at the Howell Mill Road location. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Milton, you take care.
You too.
Bye.
Thanks for everything. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Ms. Kim, we have to address your client. Was it Ms. Roden? Jonathan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Excuse me. Mr. Jonathan Augustus Roden, accused
Yes.
of criminal trespass and obstruction of a law enforcement officer, position
Yes, Your
number
Honor.
19. Incident date is April 20th, 2022, and Mr. Roden has been appointed to Public Defense Attorney Jay Kim, who has waived his appearance. Mr. Tucson, do you have any priors? I have a 2017 DUI. Is that anything else?
No.
Okay. Mr. Cheney or Ms. Mitchell or who's our prosecutor for Mr. Jonathan Roden?
That's my case, Your Honor.
All right. Did you have a recommendation for a bond for Mr. Roden? He's recommended for pretrial released.
Yes, Your Honor. I had a bond recommendation of $2,500 surety conditions. Stay away from the Cirque Blue restaurant located at 935 Marietta Street, Atlanta. No weapons, no drugs or alcohol, no violations of any further Georgia criminal law. That is our case, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Kim?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Roden is 28 years old and he is recommended for signature bond. This is his first criminal trespass related violation. We would like to request for a signature bond, Your Honor.
Where is this restaurant served? I feel like I passed it, but I can't recognize it.
Circle Blue Seafood House.
Is that what it's called, Mr. Shaney?
Yes, Your Honor. Marietta Street, I assume that's downtown somewhere. Of course, Atlanta's got a lot of downtown.
Circle Blue Seafood Restaurant. Okay.
I heard the food was good, Your Honor.
Oh, Mr. Walker, thank you for that recommendation. Now we'll all be looking for it all over downtown. Okay.
Judge, I think we need a court-funded field trip.
I'll make a mention of that to Chief Judge Susan Enline and make a special, make note that it's a special request from ASG Cheney.
Thank you, Judge.
All right, for Mr. Roden's criminal trespass, it's going to be a $1,500 signature bond. The obstruction is $500. It's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. Ms. Kim, is your client able to attend and process through pretrial?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I was
So
about to ask, why is he not here? So I know how to note it.
is there a medical reason or anything to that effect?
I don't think so.
You
he
can.
just did not want to be here.
All right. If you can put your email to Tucson,
Sure. Sure.
Maybe both of you can discuss.
No, I don't need.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know. He didn't want to be here. That's fine.
Okay. So it's a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services. And well, as you know, Ms. Kim, your client cannot return to the Circle or Cirque Blue Seafood Restaurant at 935 Marietta Street, especially on the day when we do our court-sanctioned field trip to that location. No illegal drugs, no weapons, and no firearms. And we will send him his notice to his current mailing address.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Any other matters that we have to address?
Nope.
All
Nothing
right.
further from defense.
Let's go over the calendar, please, very briefly. Position number 1, Benyard has got a $2,500 surety bond. Next court date is May 5th. Position, and he's represented by conflict. Position 2, Representative Buey by Ms. Gant, and that is going to be a $1,000 surety bond. Reset date May 5th. Position 3, Mr. Lamont Brown has 2 cases. They are $2,500 each. Position 3 and 4, reset date is May 5th. And he's represented by Ms. Gant. Okay. Position 4, Burks is represented by conflict. It's a signature bond through pretrial. And yeah, Burks, wasn't it pretrial?
Number 4 is Brown. 5 is Burks.
Oh, I'm sorry. Position 5, Henry Burks. It's a pretrial bond, reset dates further notice, represented by conflict. Position 6, James Dinwiddie. I just kept pronouncing that name all the time. James Dinwiddie is a $5,000, it's a $6,500 split bond. And his reset date is May 5th.
It's per judge.
Right. And no driving in his report every month, blah, blah, blah. Okay. Position 7, Mr. Ford is represented by conflict as a $5,000 signature bond, reset dates further notice. Position 8, Talon Hodges is represented by conflict, 3,500 signature bond through pretrial, reset date is further notice. Kelvin Hunt, position 9, is a $4,000 surety bond, reset date is May 5th. Position 10 is represented by private counsel. Bond is set at it's a $6,000 split bond. Reset date is May 5th. Position 11 is a $3,000 split bond. Reset date is further notice.
Per judge.
Yes. Position 12 is a $6,000 split bond. Also reset dates May 5th. Position 13, 3,500 signature bond. Reset date is further notice.
Per judge.
Yes, sir.
Judge, you gotta call out per judge with the bond. It's part of the bond.
That's fine. That way Ms. Middlebrooks will know to put that on the bond order. That's perfectly fine. Position 14 is $1,000 surety bond. And reset date is May 5th. Position 15, Nettlesby, is a $5,000 signature bond through the jail. And reset date is May 5th because he's got other matters holding him. This is a release to Gwinnett County authorities only. Position 16, Ali Phillips, a 2,500 signature bond for pretrial. Reset date is further notice. Tariq Rains is a signature. I can't remember what the amount was.
$10,000.
10,000.
10,000.
Per judge.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. $10,000 signature bond through pretrial, and reset date is going to be further notice. Oh, sure.
What number? 18?
Yes, for position 17, Ms. Middlebrooks, let's go ahead and place him on the May 5th SAP calendar in case he doesn't get a release bond on his felony case, since he's going to be on felony court tomorrow.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Position 18, Antoine Reeves is represented by conflict and
3,000.
3,000, thank you.
Good bond.
Yes, a reset date is May 3rd. This is from Judge Williams. Position 19 is a signature bond through pretrial, and that's going to be further notice. Position 20.
Hold on, Judge, that's 2,000, right?
2,000, right, 1,500 and 500. Okay, position 20, Shakita Rowland is a $2,000 surety bond. Reset date is May 3rd. And this is also represented by conflict. Position 21 is a $2,000 surety bond. Reset date is May 5th. Did we want to put any of his other companion cases on May 5th as well?
They have them listed on the calendar, Judge, so more than likely they will put them so they'll all go on the SAP on that.
Okay, appreciate that. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. So he'll have 5 cases on the SAP on May 5th. Okay, all right. Did I need any corrections?
I already corrected you, Judge.
Thank you. Appreciate that too, sir.
You here tomorrow?
Yes, no, I'm doing ORCA tomorrow. All right, folks, y'all enjoy your Thursday, and